You're doing the work. You're putting out content, running campaigns, writing briefs, and it's just not landing. Not the way it should, at least. And at some point, you start wondering if you're actually the problem. You're not. Most marketing advice will tell you to do more. More content, more channels, more output. But more of the wrong thing does not fix anything. It just makes the problem more expensive. The marketers who consistently get ahead are not doing more. They are doing 5 specific things differently. And the gap between knowing those 5 things and not knowing them is the gap between marketing that costs money and marketing that builds advantage over time. Here are the 5 moves. If your marketing is targeting people ready to buy, you are already too late. Most marketing is aimed at people who are already looking, already comparing options, already at the decision point. That is a small group, and every competitor you have is fighting for the same people. Here's a way to think about it. Imagine a river. On this side, problems, friction, the feeling that something is not working. On the other side, life is better. The problem is gone. Your product is the bridge. Most brands stand at the riverbank shouting at the people already trying to cross. Best price, best features, limited time offer. But most people are not at the riverbank. They feel the friction, but they did not yet connect it to a problem that needs solving. They do not even know the river exists. And if you are the one who helps them understand that the friction they feel has a name, that it can be solved, you earn trust before any competitor enters the picture. When they finally reach the riverbank, your bridge is the first one they step on. They do not shop around. You were already there. Stop fighting for the 5% who are already deciding. Start talking to the 95% who are not there yet. To do that, you need to understand them at the level most briefs never go to. That is move 2. I have sat across hundreds of clients over 20 years of my experience, and almost every brief describes the audience the same way. 25 to 45-year-olds, urban, university educated, maybe a job title, maybe an income bracket. That tells you who they are. It tells you nothing about what they think about at 11 p.m. when they cannot fall asleep, and you cannot write a message for who someone is. You write it for what they are going through. So instead of describing who your audience is, map how they think. To do that, ask 3 things. What are they actually trying to do? Not just the task. How do they want to feel while doing it? How do they want to be seen by the people around them? What is getting in their way? Not just the practical friction. What does it cost them emotionally when the problem does not go away? And what does better look like? Not what your product does, what better life looks like on the other side of this. When you can describe someone's situation in their own language, better than they could describe it themselves, they do not feel sold to. They feel understood. And that is worth more than any feature list you will ever write. Once you know how they think, the next question is what to say, and at which level. This is where most people get it wrong. You think your category is competitive. It's not. It's repetitive. Open your phone, look at any ad in your feed. I will tell you what it says before you even look. Features, maybe benefits. What the product does. What's included. Why is it better than the last version? Every brief, every category, same level, every time. And that is exactly why most marketing blends in. Because your audience is not thinking about features. They are thinking about their problem, the life they want, who they are trying to become. There are 6 levels a message can live on. Features, benefits, problems you solve, the enemy you fight, how life gets better, and who your audience gets to be. Most brands never get past level 2. Big budgets do not fix bad messaging. They just make invisible work more expensive. I have seen a single sentence outperform a 6-figure campaign. The sentence was just at the right level. Take a gym. Level 1. 120 machines, 2 locations, 3 towels. Level 6. Become the kind of person who keeps promises to themselves. Same gym, completely different message. One sounds like every other gym you have ever seen. One makes you stop. The move here is to go higher. Not by inventing something new, but by saying the thing that is true that nobody in your category is willing to say out loud. If your message sounds like your competitors, you are at the wrong level. Knowing what to say is one thing. Knowing why someone should choose you over everything else available to them is a different question entirely. Now here is where it gets interesting. Most positioning tries to speak to everyone, which means it speaks to no one specifically enough to make anyone feel like it was made for them. Stop treating positioning as a statement you write once and paste into every brief. Treat it as a recipe you make for a specific context. 4 elements. Who exactly is this for? What problem are they experiencing right now? What makes your solution the best fit for that situation? And what are they currently doing instead? The alternative they are stuck with that is not working. When you can answer all 4 clearly, your offer stops being vague. It becomes a solution to a specific frustration for a specific person who has a specific alternative that is currently failing them. And here's where it gets interesting for anyone whose name is on the work. This is why your work keeps getting reopened. When positioning is vague, feedback has nothing to attach to except taste. When positioning is specific, feedback has to attach to the logic. Someone can disagree with the positioning. They can suggest a different audience or a different problem. But they cannot just say they do not feel it. Because now there is something to evaluate against. Not taste, not opinion, a strategic argument. Vague positioning produces vague feedback. Specific positioning gives the work a backbone that survives the room. Once the message and the position is clear, there's one thing left. Even a good message gets scrolled past if nobody notices it. That is move 5. Having a clear message is not enough. Most clear messages are also invisible. This is why even a good message gets scrolled past. So instead of telling the audience the message, make them solve it. Think about a print ad for a silent air conditioner. Instead of the usual airflow grills, there is a music staff, 5 lines, a note symbol, but no notes on it. You stop. Something is off. Why are there no notes? Then it clicks. No sound, no notes. Silent air conditioner. You solved it yourself. This is why you remember it. 3 things happen in sequence. Something feels off, so you stop. Your brain moves toward the gap. The message resolves it, and then it clicks. This works in ads. It works in content. It even works in meetings. Because before you show a single idea, you explain the sequence. You let the room experience the puzzle mechanic. Now when you reveal the work, the question is not what do you think? The question is, does this create an attention moment? Is the puzzle clear? Does the clarity line resolve it properly? Feedback attaches to the structure, not to taste, not to anyone's personal opinion. The work that passes this test closes. And most importantly, it stays closed. 5 moves. Reach the people who do not yet know the problem is solvable. Understand how they think, not just who they are. Say the thing nobody in your category will say. Position for one specific person with one specific problem. Make the message impossible to ignore. These are not 5 separate tips. They build on each other. Awareness without audience understanding is guesswork. Messaging without positioning is noise. Creativity without clarity is expensive confusion. The marketers who get ahead are not doing more. They are doing these 5 things in this order and letting each one make the next one stronger. That is how marketing stops costing money and starts building advantage. And that is how you stop being a marketer whose work keeps getting reopened and start being the one whose decisions actually hold. Each of these 5 moves has a lot more underneath it. Link in the description. And if you want to go deeper on any one of them, the next video is a good place to start.